Yes, it's 99.3 Nigeria Info. And yes, you're here on the Morning Crossfire, or your number one news talking sports station. We told you today we'll bring up this discussion. We had it on our chit chat yesterday. We had it on the front pages today. Reactions coming up on the President's Directive to CBN on food importation. So some people are for, some are against. The directive is to say, don't give 1 more cent. I'm using the word of the president to anyone for food importation. We've achieved food security, and on other forms of security, we are not doing badly. But this is our conversation this morning. You're welcome to the show. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry. And this promises to be interesting because you can watch us live right now on Facebook and on YouTube. Follow the conversation on Twitter as well. We have all of these conversations going on online and offline on Nigeria Info's portal there. On Facebook, we are at Nigeria Info FM. On YouTube, our new YouTube channel is Nigeria Info FM as well. Feel free to subscribe and like our page so you can watch us live and join the conversation. Welcome.
I wish we had a song to welcome you with. But welcome to the show, people. We're live up there. You can reach us also. We have joining us in the studio, Bola Olajede. He's a chartered accountant, an economic and public affairs analyst, and he's joining us on the show today. Bola, good morning.
Good to be here. Good morning.
Good to have you here. And also we have joining us here Olalekon Ayodele Sipasi. He's a CEO and founder at Protect Ozone Sustainable Livelihood Initiative. Sipasi, good to have you here.
Good morning, fellow Nigerians.
Fellow,
Back home.
welcome back home.
Thank you.
Welcome back home, indeed. He's been on a tour. Tell us about that tour.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be selected as one of the Mandela Washington Fellows to represent Nigeria. We had about 100,000 applications across Africa. 56 Nigerians were selected.
And I can just hold your thought. We might need to switch your mic.
Yes, that might sounds funny.
Let's switch your mic, and because what you're giving out, that information is quite vital. I would really love to, get a hang of. Please start over again.
Hello, Nigerians.
Yes,
much better.
I'm Sipas Olalekon Ayodele, selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program.
Right.
It's a competitive selection process where about over 100,000 youths across Africa applied. 56 Nigerians were selected.
Right.
And I happen to be one of the Nigerians. And I was posted to Kansas State University, a land of agriculture in the United States of America.
Okay.
Came back 2 weeks ago, and I'm excited about this topic. Also to share my opinion about it.
Timely, right?
Yeah,
It's timely.
So you went on this fellowship based on your work in the agricultural sector.
Yeah.
So it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And Bola is here to tell us about the money and about the forex and how it's about the money this time around. Now, let us remind you that Nigeria is blessed, of course, with abundant natural and human resources. But despite this, majority of citizens are still living below the poverty line, and cost of living is daily soaring. As of 13th of August 2019, Nigeria has over 30 million hectares of farmland under cultivation season to season. This falls short substantially of the estimated 78.5 million hectares of land that is required for farming to feed Nigeria's growing population. Remember that our population also grows exponentially every year, so we're not even meeting up at all. In the past, Nigeria was famous for the export of groundnuts and palm kernel oil, but over the years, the rate of export of produce has reduced. However, Nigeria is one of the largest producers of rice in Africa. Simultaneously, we are one of the largest importers of rice in the world. In a recent publication by Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Nigeria's agricultural productivity is low, with the average of 1.2 metric tons of cereals and high post-harvest losses and waste. To meet up with our current demand, Nigeria needs to increase the production of Nigerians' main staple meals, including rice, gari, and yam. The CBN governor in 2018 reported that Nigeria has succeeded in reducing the importation of food items by 60% from 2015, adding that the government in the process saved $800 million. This reduction affected 5 major food items: rice, wheat, sugar, tomatoes, and milk. Now, during Salah holiday. Tuesday, 13th August, President Muhammadu Buhari in Katsina disclosed that he has directed the CBN to stop providing foreign exchange for importation of food into the country based on, quotes, the steady improvement in agricultural production and the attainment of food security.
Indeed, indeed. And this really has got a lot of people talking. The conversation is everywhere. So, gentlemen, welcome to this. Let me start with you, Gbolahan Olojede. You are a chartered accountant. You're passionate about Nigeria. What's your thoughts as regards this directive by President Buhari?
Let's start from the directive itself, the tone of the directive. It seems to come across as, I command you to go do this. That is not a nice way it should come across.
Right.
We have equivalent of CBN governors and president that are equally powerful in some other part of the world. The equivalent in the United States, for example, Trump doesn't wake up and dictate to him. If you have a policy issue, you rub mind, you come out, and you can sit down with the CBN governor and say, oh, this is what I'm thinking of. And the CBN governor will advise and say, this is how we can go about this is how we can achieve this, these are the technical side of things, and then things get done.
Let's break the egg. Can the president direct the CBN governor? Or this directive, can the CBN governor, or must he, or can he, or could he obey this directive?
Yes, he can obey it. In our context, in reality, it cannot command the CBN governor to just take a policy direction and run with it. Rather, it should be the other way around. Not in a command form, but the CBN coming to the president to say, this is what I think we can do in line with your policy direction. The president is still the CEO. So he sets the vision and said, this is where we are going.
Right.
So the CBN can sit and look at that vision and say, based on this vision, we need to do this and move in that direction. That is how things are done, not the command. The command and take it or leave it approach doesn't even portray the president in the proper light, the way.
How does he portray him? I mean, I'm really interested.
It starts to sound like a military environment. The president, don't forget, is the CEO, all right, but
Right.
It's not a technical person. The decision being taken here involves a lot of information. It's not just something people wake up and take. So even when those decisions are being taken, we have to look at what are the numbers saying.
Right.
But you have said the CBN governor cannot be directed in that order.
Yes.
But with the current situation, do you expect the CBN governor to obey this directive?
You see, the CBN governor is an appointee of the president. And in our peculiar situation, yes, he will obey it.
Wow.
That is a reality.
Right.
The alternative is that he and his team, they have a different perspective, can seek engagement with the president and say, look, this is and this and this are what we think. But we know the way our environment is. Not a lot of time do you have public appointees who were willing to look in the face of the president and tell him the way things are. Because we don't also have public appointees who are willing to say, I don't think this is right, so I can march out of that door.
Yeah.
You don't have those kind
But
of
let's look at
personalities.
what the president had in mind. Aside it being a festive period, I thought it was just in a festive mood. There was food and everyone was happy. And the president's, we have food, man.
Yes,
This is food everywhere. We've achieved food security. But let's look at the issue of Forex itself. The president said we'll be able to preserve Forex. Do we have a Forex issue in Nigeria?
We've been managing the forex. We have a forex issue for any country with a low industrial base like ours. The balance of trade is tilted against us, so we will from time to time struggle with issues of forex and all the rest. That is a reality. But you see, the issue is a bit more complex. Number one, this may be seen as part of the diversification of the economic base strategy. Fantastic idea. We've seen we've made some good progress in the rice space, for example. There are still challenges here and there on the rice space. But you see, no country that ever became rich because of primary agricultural products. None. You can't mention one that, these guys were farmers and the country became rich because they produced a lot of primary agricultural products. Where the money is, it's in value add. It's in value add. So our problems are therefore multi-layer. Number one, we are not farming enough. You said we have 30.5 million hectares. When we
need
we
right now 78.5.
Our yield is poor. So we're not achieving the level of yield, even for the little portion that we're farming.
Right.
Then when we farm, our losses at harvest, post-harvest losses, is huge. Because modern economic planning is not done in silos. So as the government is thinking of revving up production, it must be thinking of preservation and storage.
Right.
It must be thinking of processing, value addition. Without that, even if you mass produce and you don't have a transport to get what you mass produce to the consumption centers, and you don't have electricity to do processing, and you cannot do storage,
You just hit it on the head.
the value added chain is just not there.
It's just
Have
not
we
there.
achieved food security in Nigeria? Is the president correct?
No country in the world has achieved food security. I volunteered with Harvest Plus in the United States of America. This is an NGO working to provide food for those who cannot, afford food on the streets.
Right.
Provide food for the less privileged. It was a massive, it is a massive facility,
Right.
And I saw the tons of food that they were turning out, I don't want to talk about the directive of the president, but I want to talk on the issue of the food security.
Right.
The food security issue. Now, as he mentioned rightly, the challenge of food production, I don't think we really have so much challenge when it comes to primary agricultural production. We are producing a whole lot. For example, let's take a look at our tomato production in Nigeria. We are the largest producer of tomato in Africa, and yet we are the largest importer of tomato paste into this country. Why?
Please
Because
say that again.
Nigeria is the largest producer of tomato in Africa, and yet we are the largest importer of tomato paste in the whole world. Why? Because over half of our production gets wasted on the farm. Primary production wastage. In Africa, in my country, I like to be very personal with it. In my country, Nigeria, the agricultural value chain is very poor. What we need as Africa, I do believe, globally, I tell people that in Africa, we are the owner of agriculture. We are not the owner of technology. However, we can tap into technology to maximize our agricultural production. Now, after saying that, I made people to see how we could leverage not just on technology, but on appropriate technology.
That's right.
So what we need is not just sophisticated technology.
It's not just anything.
Anything is a technology that is appropriate to our own condition. For example, if we bring robots and what have you into Nigeria, which some of us are doing, it's going to force a lot of people out of job.
Right.
Because agriculture is providing about 70% of our workforce in this country.
Right.
So what do we need? We need rural youth empowerment strategy. What I call the rural barrier, where we can cage in quote, our youth in the rural area. How can we cage our youth in the rural area? If you provide me with internet facility, water, electricity in a rural community,
right.
I will stay there to work for my country, to produce food for my country. And also, I think that stopping the forex for food importation and what have you, I think is not totally a bad idea. It's not totally a bad idea.
How so?
But I feel that there should have been enough cushion.
Timing.
The timing is very important. So what have we done to improve food production, food processing, packaging, transportation, which are very important in the agricultural sector of our country.
You mentioned value chain.
Yeah.
Can you highlight some of these value chains so our listener can better have a better grasp of what you're referring to?
Okay, very good. But before I go into that, I would quickly like to cite an example. The president, the governor of the central bank, around July, also talked about stopping the forex on milk importation into the country.
Right.
Now, I just feel that we should not just jump into conclusion, in making some certain decisions that affect the food security of our country. An average Holstein Friesian, which is a breed of cattle, foreign cattle, produces about 60 liters of milk per day. I say that again. An average Holstein Friesian, produces about 60 liters of milk per day. Our local white Fulani,
I'm waiting to hear
Sokoto Gudali cattle, which are our indigenous breeds in Nigeria, produces about 2 liters of milk per day.
Wait.
2 liters.
60 liters per day.
Per day.
2 liters.
Yield per day. I'm talking about per day. 2 liters to 60 liters per day. Now, this is not the problem of the country. It is our indigenous breed. Okay. And we need to, I think the government should focus on how we can improve our breeds.
Yeah.
Now, Holstein Friesian does not get to the point of producing 60 liters per day in a day. It took the effort of researchers to actually improve, to make them adapted to their own climatic condition. So the question you need to ask me is, what are the job of our scientists? What are the job of our lecturers in the university? I got to know IIT, and what have you? I got to know recently that lecturers in the United States of America will apply for grants. They have the funding. A single lecturer in a department having about $1 million US to carry out a research project, just one lecturer in one department. Now, but our lecturers here, we have a lot of them fighting, going on strike because facilities are not good, are not that or something. They don't have enough money to research or what have you. But what is happening?
They don't even have enough money to survive.
They don't have enough
they're
money
busy
to survive.
fighting for their survival.
For their survival, not the survival of the people. So I just feel that the food security issue is so complex.
So you're saying that the president is not correct by saying we've achieved food security?
I'm saying that it's not totally right that we have attained food security in this country, Nigeria.
It's far from being true. I think some people told the president what they think he would like to hear. He has invested a lot of time and energy and vision into agriculture, and he would like to hear the success story of that space. And people have fed him with that success story. When you look at things like wheat, which is one of the areas we can say we're succeeding. We are planting wheat in Nigeria today, but we still imported wheat over 300 billion naira last year.
Right.
Are we saying that this year, if we cut out those importation, we'll be able to fill that gap? What are the food we eat, especially in the south? Cassava, begari, rice, and bread. So, bread is so staple, is so pervasive in consumption here, especially in the south, that you can imagine how it will affect the nutrition of an ordinary, even Lagosian, the bread agege and the potter and all over the whole place. So if you pull the rugs from under the feet of wheat importation, when we do not yet have that strategy that takes us from where we currently are to where we need to be on that wheat production level.
Interesting.
You see,
interesting.
While we've turned this around, for those who don't understand why we need forex for agriculture, for importation of food. So I want to go into the food business. Why do I need forex from the government? And with this directive, if it's followed through, how does it really affect me?
Okay. The food business is fairly large. And we have to look at it right from the raw materials. If somebody looks at conflict, for example, all it sees is the final product.
Yeah.
But then
cereals.
there's corn. Are you aware that we import corn in Nigeria?
Yeah, we do.
We even import palm oil from Italy in Nigeria, crude palm oil.
But the government did put a ban on the importation of palm oil.
There are still some importation
going on back end.
And it's all part of the fact that we cannot say we have. How can a country that spent on wheat alone over 200 billion in 2018, I'm not talking of 5 years ago,
200 billion
on wheat, say that we have achieved food sufficiency?
Does it worry you?
Is that not?
Does it worry you that we have the president is aware that crisis, communal crisis, terror attacks, what have you, conflicts have chased farmers away from the farms?
Yes.
And now we're saying that we're food sufficient. I mean, how does that even?
That's why I started from the fact that I think he has invested a lot in this agriculture space, and he will love. We all love good stories.
Yeah.
We
love to hear that we're doing well.
We're doing well, and I think he has been told a good story. Not that there are no successes. Let's take that away. We made serious milestone in the right space, albeit there is still a lot of importation going on in the right space, via the legal or the illegal. Now, let me come back to the Forex thing. In the importation of those raw materials that we eat, bread, for example, is one of the food we consume a lot.
Just look around Lagos. You don't need to go far. Everywhere you turn, there's bread. Morning, afternoon, and night.
We are producing very little wheat in this country. So we have to import it. To import it, you need Forex. We're importing corn, even from the U.S. Part of to import it, you need Forex.
Because you would not be trading in
naira. To import
naira.
milk, you need Forex. To import chicken, I think some of those things are being curtailed now. We've also, that's one other area of success. I think we've revved up significantly our bird production in
Have we, Sebasi?
But there'll be a lot of.
Well, I feel we are trying in the bird production. For example, if you are going into agribusiness in Germany, for example, the government will give you 70% grant to start up that project. Now, a lot of people.
Are you guys listening to that?
A lot of people, they are producing more than what they needed in Germany. So they,
export
naturally. Would export.
Now, because these guys are getting 70% grant. Imagine if I need 10 million naira to start up a business, and the government is giving 7 million naira.
Come on, the business has.
Now. They import the chicken to Nigeria. We import the chicken here. Then, automatically, those chicken are cheaper when they get here.
Oh, definitely.
Than rearing them.
Yeah, than rearing them. They are bigger. So, when you have a kilo of chicken being sold for 1,200 naira, it will cost you about 1,050 naira to raise a bird to 1 kilo of chicken. So, most times, our smallholders, which is very important to me as a passionate, agriculturist, our smallholders are going into a lot of hardship because their profit margin is so low.
After working so hard. For months.
To get this produced, and at the end of the day, they might end up with having 15 naira profit per bird. Sometimes when they have issues with, let's say, disease or breakout or what have you, Gomboro and what have you, they are at loss. So many things happen within the sector. Let me give you a very funny story. Sometimes 2 years ago, I raised about 200 broilers, just my backyard farms and backyard farm at home. Then, on the 25th of December, I was only able to sell about 40 of them. So I had about 60 left. January 1st, I felt I'll be able to sell all. Then I sold 5 again. So about 2 weeks after, I discovered that the money I gained from the 45 I sold earlier, I was using it to feed.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the day, I was begging people to come and buy. Wow. People were not ready to buy. And I was happy that my sister was pregnant and gave to birth. I decided to slaughter all the remaining stuff
for the naming ceremony.
Wow. That happened to me. I couldn't run to anywhere. Do you understand? So
imagine if you had borrowed money
to start
that is just for 200.
Let's go on our first break,
yes,
shall we? We're coming back to the Forex issue so people can understand why you actually need Forex for food importation and what will happen if there's no more Forex. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info. A great conversation we're having here on the President's directive to the CBN to ban Forex for food importation. It says, don't give 1 cent.
1 cent.
If I hear not even 1 cent to anybody for food importation, because we have achieved food security. Join us for more. We're live on Facebook and also on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. You can leave us your comment on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.
We'll be back just in a moment. Back on the Morning Crossfire 99.3 Nigeria Info. We're having a great conversation here in the studio with our guests, looking at the president's directive to the CBN to stop giving out our forex for anybody who wants to import food, because according to the president, we have achieved food security, and this will help us also with diversification of the economy. We can use our forex for some other things. Let's look at the top things that Nigeria imports. We talked about this yesterday on the chit chat. So, top 10 things that we import. Number 1, mineral fuels, including oil. This takes up about 29.7% of total imports and takes 10.8 billion US dollars. Machinery, including computers, take 14.2%. Ships, boats take 9.4%. Vehicles take 6.1%. Electrical machinery and equipment take 5.6%. Plastic articles take 3.8%. Cereals take 3.3%. Fish takes 1.9%. Articles of iron or steel, 1.9%, also same as fish. And then iron and steel take 1.7%. So food only features here at number 7 and number 8 on the list.
Well, that's quite important, really. And that's why this is very, very germane. We talk about this. Deto, join us right now. Deto, good morning to you.
Good morning, Nigerians.
It's good to have you here.
She's here. And she's the founder, Thistleberry Natural Farms, and lead advisor, Maidville Consulting Limited. She's a passionate farmer. You know, she's been here over and over. Well, I'm coming back to you, Bola, on the forex issue. Very important.
Right.
But you were excited when I spoke to you yesterday about this ban. She's like, whoops, I've been waiting for this ban on forex. Finally, and it's here. Why are you so excited?
Because it will make us look inwards. It would make us think. For me, the ban is not in the ban. It's in what goes into the ban. What exactly is being banned? I don't want to look at the semantics. I don't want to look at the sentimental aspect, the emotional aspect. I want us to look at what opportunities lies in for primary producers, for processing, for value addition, for all the value chains, the economic diversification, the opportunities for the youth, for the creative industry in agriculture, for the innovations that can come in. That is the excitement in it for me. It means that we can focus.
You're saying this will force us to do the right thing.
It will follow.
While I'm glad about your enthusiasm, and while I really wish it would do all of this, but will this ban then make electricity available, for instance? Will it fix the bad roads? Will it, manage the amount of waste?
The storage problems that we have.
With food
So
production.
here's how I see Nigeria. In other economies, you'll say you cannot put the cart before the horse, right?
Right.
Is that what we have done now?
We're putting that's what we're doing. But somehow, because of who we are as a nation, we've always been able to come out and get it near right at the end of the day.
Have we now? Have we?
We would almost, I didn't say we will, because in normal economy, you would always put the horse before the cart. That's the standard.
That's
So
right.
you're saying it's our style
in Nigeria is our
to put the
style.
cart before the horse, and it works for us.
Well,
Can I have a conversation with Adeto?
Oh, please go ahead. You both
Yeah.
are farmers.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Clash.
I mean, I love your passion and the excitement towards this, which is very right and positive. However, I'm wondering whether this is right at this particular point. Number one, do we have the right cushion to get this done? Is it going to put farmers under duress or not? Number two, all the heads of states in Africa agreed to the Malabo Declaration, stating that all countries in Africa should contribute at least 10% of their GDP into agriculture.
Right.
Nigeria is doing about 2% of that. Now,
Eight less.
8 less. Now, any serious economy, is going to prioritize food security. Now, how is this going to help in the Malabo Declaration of a thing? I mean, I feel that if at all we are putting the chart before the horse, it should be towards the Malabo. Let's see whether this particular aspect is doing the right thing, then we can push forward from there. To me, it's going to be stress on farmers and also youth innovation and technology. Thank you.
All right, here you go.
Sapase,
Yeah.
recall what I said. I said, I do not want to look at the semantics. I do not want to look at the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
We will go into technicalities. The thing is, are we willing? Are we ready? Cushions. We need cushions, yes. The policy, I do not expect it to be instantly. I'm sure our government led by President Muhammadu Buhari, they're not going to just say, in fact, the vessel that is about to berth at Apapa should go back. No.
Of course. Yeah.
There would be step by step. At the end of the day, what are we achieving? Being able to produce enough for our food industry, being able to produce enough for you and I and the less privileged people to eat.
How will this production happen? That's the part I need to understand.
What
so
I would expect.
Would this increase the number of farmers we have, or would this increase the amount of technology they are using for farming? How would this
Those
increase?
are the technicalities that go into it. The
And
farmers
who
are
would then
already
deal
there.
with this? Who would handle these technicalities?
So I'll take a typical example. We import wheat,
Yeah.
even though we produce.
Great.
We import sugar
A lot.
a lot, even though FMN, that is Flour Mills of Nigeria, has acres and hectares of sugarcane farmland. Of course, Bachita is not working. It's been dead since I was in my secondary school.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. We still import tomatoes, raw tomatoes, from Cameroon, from Burkina Faso, from our brothers from the Benin Republic.
Yeah.
You will find the product, even chilies are still imported. We still import maize. We import soya. For the primary food industry that produce things like bread, produce things like cereal, what are their raw materials? I think the scaling up should actually start from there.
Okay.
It would not be a total ban. It will be a gradual thing.
Well,
So
the president
if we
did
are-
not ask for a gradual ban. He
didn't-
asked for.
there's no explanation whatsoever.
That's where the problem
There's
is.
no
yeah.
explanation.
May I explain what I mean by that?
Okay.
A total 100% ban would not work.
Thank you.
I think we're all on the
Hold
same
on,
page
please.
with that
We're
one.
we're actually on the
exactly.
same page.
Exactly.
You
It
know,
would not work.
I-
What I feel would work is 200, last year we did 200 billion in import of
Wheat.
wheat.
we actually did over 300 billion.
I
311.
witnessed
Wow.
the offloading for a particular company. Now, rather than them bringing in 200 billion worth in a year, can we reduce it
To 100.
to 100?
And where did they find the
And-
rest from?
The rest, so you would now have to now put the technicalities in place.
Who would
get
be
the growers?
who?
We
Who?
have growers. We have growers.
Well, I like your
Okay,
optimism.
let me-
Before we
no,
head
no,
to the
no,
phone,
Hold on. We
Okay,
have
okay.
growers. What can we do? Can we get improved seeds?
from the Ministry of Agriculture, you mean,
They
or from
don't
who?
have it, so we would.
Oh,
have
so they
to
don't
bring-
have it.
So we would now have to bring in those seeds. Now, if you are putting forex in improved seeds,
Right.
it makes sense if it's going to because it's going to now improve
Which
your productivity.
Sipasi mentioned earlier about our scientists going into more research, even if we have to import.
But you know
let's
that it takes
fund our
time. It takes time for research to come to fruition.
So wouldn't we all have been excited if this was rather a plan to say we want to end importation of food, not just even forex. We truly want to end importation of food.
Right.
And this is a roadmap. In 2 years, this is what we'll do.
Let's
In the
have a
next 2
plan.
years.
Okay,
This is
so
what we will
what
do.
I expect the CBN to do is to say, "Oh, Mr. President, we've heard you. We would come back to you with a plan." Mr. President has given a directive. Whether he's right, is wrong, he's midway there. That is probably his thoughts.
But remember, the CBN did not have a plan when they spoke about banning forex for milk importation. There was no plan, which is why we're all talking. But we need to get to the phones quickly.
Yes, we need
let's
to.
let's finish up with the forex issue. So, for these farmers we have here, or for people who are into the business of food importation, why do we need forex? I mean, if we stop giving them forex, what then happens? Are they closing down business?
Yes, the companies that rely heavily for their raw materials on those imported, those raw materials are imported. So if I produce cornflakes and I import the corn, and all of a sudden I don't have access to importing I don't have access to forex to import. It means I have to source my forex. Don't forget that it doesn't mean I still cannot get my corn into the country. It's just that CBN will not give me the forex. So if I source it somewhere, most likely more expensive. So I have my raw materials more expensive.
Right.
My eventual product more expensive.
Right.
Now, it's either the market will be able to take me as I am, or they start dropping my product. If they start dropping my product, then my performance as a company will nosedive.
Right.
And I may be out of business.
And that will lead
that
to
will
loss of
compound
jobs
my
and all of that.
the unemployment problems.
Right.
It will drop tax revenues for the government in itself, because you have corporate income tax, you have payee from those employees, and all of that. We'll also lose out on that. So it's something we need to think through. If we also do that, the increasing prices of food. Don't forget that food prices is a very important part of the inflation figure number that we have. So once food items start to go up, general rise in prices will occur. If I'm the seller of food and I buy some other things from the market,
Right.
now once the things I'm buying food more expensive now. then that means the thing that I produce too, I need to sell it more expensively.
So I can meet up
to
with
be
the
able
high
to meet
price.
up with that. So
True.
there'll be generalized.
Is that what they call inflation?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Let's get to the phones. We
need to get
see,
to the
yeah,
phone
you all
lines.
been trying to reach us all morning. We also have lots of comments on our socials, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We'll try to read as many of them as we can. But we'll give you our phone numbers right now so you can join us. Here they are.
Call us on 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
This is Nigeria Info. We are listening. We have Afam on the line from Ali Mosho. Afam, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Wemimo. How are you today?
Very well, sir.
I actually find it disturbing whenever government comes up with policies and we keep shouting that it's not the right time, it's not the right time. When will the time be right? How ridiculous does it sound that we import Gary? I don't know if Nigerians are actually thinking through all these things. That we use foreign exchange to go and import Gary to this country. We just have to start from somewhere.
All right.
Right. Thank you so much, Afam.
Trade is not easy.
All right
Thank
then.
you. We have Mr. Jonto on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Good morning.
Yeah. I said, what I just want to say is, please, let's just be open about this decision. Because we appear to have a closed mind about it, that this thing is going to kill us. Yes, I know it looks harsh, but it's not going to kill us. Because I know that we will come out of it. But we need to take this decision to be able to move forward.
Right.
You see, in this country, I'm into agriculture too. Do you know that Nigeria, by law, there are certain things that if you export out of this country, is illegal, agricultural produce. So, and if you look at some of the steps that we have taken in this country, I remember there was a time NNPC wanted to go into renewable energy through production of biofuels using sugarcane. They acquired 20,000 hectares of land in Bauchi, in Benue, and all that. They were going to establish this plant to start producing ethanol. And the plant was a plant that if you are operating it, you can choose to end up with ethanol or end up with sugar.
Right.
We don't know where this thing has died.
Okay.
If today NNPC has succeeded in doing that, who will be thinking of importing sugar into this country?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Victor from Lekki. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Victor.
Yeah. With regards to what has been discussed this morning, I think the government's approach is not the best line of action. Like you said, there is no plan. The government's decision is appearing like a clampdown. So the question we should be asking is, what is the government's plan? What is CBN's plan?
Yeah. You've actually summarized it.
Policy direction.
It's not a bad idea to want to stop food importation. It's good for us. It's good for the economy. It's good for the agriculture. What is the plan? And Dio is on the line from Surulere. Dio.
Hello, Dio. Good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo and Sheriff.
Good morning.
And good morning to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Everyone then. Okay, first and foremost, please, Wemimo and Sheriff, I want to please give your indulgence to please try and change the narrative as to it is not ban, it is actually forest restriction.
Right.
For the purpose of people, I'm an economist, for the purpose of people, the layman people who really not understand, it's actually forest restriction.
Right.
Please, that word is very important. Ban, it creates fear. That's one, please. Secondly, please, like the first caller said, when will be the right time for us to take this step? I ask again, I said yesterday, necessity is the mother of invention. At this point, for example, about the milk, do you know that the giant company in this country who is importing milk today will have done backwards in the integration years ago? And by now, even if they don't get 100% of their raw material from Nigeria, at least they will have moved to about 60 to 70%.
You think we can, if we stop importing totally, we can then make these companies do this backward integration? You think they'll be forced to do it?
Do you know why? They would, because they know there's a market here. They will be forced to go into thinking and solving the problem.
But their business is to do business, not to produce the raw materials. That's why that's the business they're doing. But thank you very much. Your point is taken. Sipasi, you were shaking your head on this one.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about milk production, it's more than, it's not like growing crop and having it harvesting and what have you. It has to be genetic transformation from one generation to another.
Do we expect milk companies to then start ranches and?
I mean, it's not possible. And if we actually stop that, are you considering children that will be malnourished during that process?
Right.
I mean, we cannot just cut it off like that.
Very good consideration.
There is actually something that happened in Plateau State.
Okay.
About 3-4 years ago. The government of Plateau State then went into a joint venture with an Israeli company, and they established a ranch. Today, I think some of those cattle still produce milk. But do you know that the government of, I'm sorry I'm saying this on air.
No, don't be sorry.
The government of Plateau State, I don't know what happened and disagreement, but they backed out of that venture.
And the company was left to rot.
They left.
Of course they will.
Of course they will.
Chika is on the line.
Good morning, Chika. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Wemimo.
Morning.
Yeah, I'm calling from Marina.
Welcome.
Well, let me start by saying that you cannot put in punitive measure without preventive measure. And why do I say this? The government claimed that they've actually achieved food sufficiency. Going by primary definition of food sufficiency is the availability of the food and for the people to be able to afford the food. We might actually say that the foods are available and it has always been available, but can every citizen afford it? I think the answer is no. There are some areas that we've actually done well. Like, I don't think anybody is actually complaining for the importation of, nobody's actually importing yam into the country. Nobody's actually importing gari into the country. But they keep on referencing rice. From Ido to Agege to Mautuof, is the foreign rice that flooded every of these markets.
You just have to take a look at the market. It tells you everything that's going on.
Sometime in the past, we heard of Rake rice, we heard of Anambra rice. But how many of those rices can you actually see in our market?
Good question. Thank you.
I'm not promoting the importation of food, but I think there's a need for government to actually view this holistically before they implement it.
Thank you. Well, lest I forget, one of the callers mentioned the use of the word ban and restriction. This is not a restriction. A restriction would mean there are measures to limit the access you can get. The president asked for a total. Don't give it to them at all.
From the CBN window. So the importer can go source forex somewhere else, but not from the CBN window.
So restriction, ban.
So again, from the CBN semantics.
Yeah, I mean,
from the CBN window. So what it means is that if I need X raw material to go into my processing, like Bolahan has explained, I would have to source my forex.
Go find the money to do it. Just don't come to us.
Exactly.
We won't give you money to do it.
So
that's
what it would mean is that at the end of the day, they would know that the cost of their commodity would not compete.
Exactly. All right.
And
then.
they won't want to
now
do it.
have to look inwards.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Benga from Papa.
Welcome.
You see, I 100% support the president in this direction. We have to start somewhere. People have done it. China did it. And some other great companies did it. We have a lot of land. But what we find out is people encroaching land, building houses. And what kind of house are they building? Somebody building one room on a plot. The rest doing nothing. So let us start something. We are not going to die.
All right.
We are not going to die.
It says we will not die.
Wenga, thank you. Sipasi, you mentioned something earlier, and I think that we need to talk about it, and that is awareness of farmers to facilities provided by government. You mentioned that German government provide, but I am on Central Bank's of Nigeria's website right now, and I can see some programs.
There are.
That the government has. I can see Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund here. There are other ones that I have on this website here. There is Agricultural Credit Support Scheme. There is Commercial Agriculture Credit Scheme. So there are facilities that the government have, for farmers. Are we aware? Are the farmers aware of these facilities?
First thing is, are they functional?
So let me say this. Let me say this. I mean, we have fantastic programs from the government. I worked on the National Livestock Transformation Plan under the Office of the Vice President last year.
Right.
And I know these plans exist, and they are beautiful plans. But how accessible are they to the right farmers? I served in Akwa Ibom State, where I saw a commissioner, putting 2 tractors in his poultry farmer of about half an acre of land, having 2 tractors there. Why? Because it got it from the government, public fund. So are the stuffs going to the right people? I think this is what we really need to address. We have the programs and everything there. Where are the funds going into? I mean, can we call for an audit of this program and put it in the public space?
And find out what really has been going on there.
And let me read who access the funds.
Let me read this comment from Facebook. This guy is still on a long thing. Who is this guy? I don't know what you mean. Alex Agbo says, even in the so-called urban centers in Nigeria, do these amenities exist? Nigeria is not serious about anything. I don't know what you mean by this guy. Yakubu Udukoke. Yakubu says, I think a total ban for forex for agricultural products is a wrong move. Well, it's for food. A more realistic position would have been for the government to start with ban on some of those products. Also here, Alhaji Musa Ibrahim Wudil says it is way out of joblessness in Nigeria. Our youth will be employed in agricultural sector. Austin Onuagagbe says, I see many take care of passing. Says this policy will just exacerbate the tension against citizens. Start investing in infrastructure that would catalyze this laudable but mistimed policy. Rotimi Oyeshiji, you people have not looked at how many jobs it will create for Nigerian businesses to produce food. Raymond John says it is a good measure at a bad time in a bad light. It should be done gradually. This is the time to wrap up, and thank you all for joining the conversation. We'll keep talking about food, about vital issues on the Morning Crossfire, of course, on Nigeria Info. Let's thank our guests. Bola Olajide, Chartered Accountant, Economic and Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you.
Good to be here.
Adeto Abiolani, your founder, Thistleberry Natural Farms and lead advisor, Medville Consulting Limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Lagos.
Ayodele Sipasi, Olaliko, CEO, founder at Protector Zone Sustainable Livelihood Initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Nigeria, we will see you tomorrow morning.
That's right.
Have a good day. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.